So the thinking going into the print was millions of Americans had to call out. Some were not paid. They ostensibly would not be counted as employed. And the whisper was for a negative print. What happened?
Well, I think obviously we had a good month here in creating jobs in America. I think a lot of the basic understanding is that I think the American economy is very resilient. And lots of employers and employees are learning to live with the pandemic. I mean, I think that we're in a lot different situation than we were in March of 2020 or any part of 2020 for that matter, or most of 2021. And I think that that's certainly one of the big factors here, I would say.
Now, we've talked about the data collection itself the last few months, but once again, upward revisions and, a doubling of the initial print. How reliable is the survey, do you think, at this point?
Well, it's very reliable, and we also spoke this morning internally. Over the last 10 years, we've had pretty similar revisions to our reports over that time. So when you look at the end of 2021, the number is about 6.7 million jobs that have been created under this administration, President Biden's administration, and clearly, this is a good sign today. A lot of good signs in this report. But as always, I say this every month, whether the report is a great report or a good report, we always have more work to do, and we have to continue to get more people. We have our labor participation went up a bit as well this month, and that's a good sign as well. But we still have a ways to go. We know that.
Secretary Walsh, Jim Cramer, always great to have you. Congratulations. Good number.
Thank you.
I'm trying to figure out, what is your take on how many people have decided, you know what, I got to rejoin the workforce because my benefits are running out and I need the money, versus how many people do you think are rejoining the workforce because I'm no longer frightened of COVID?
Well, I think there's a little bit of both, but I mean, when you break these numbers down about the participation rate, if you look at ages, I think 25 to 54, we're seeing about an 84% participation. Most of those folks need to go back to work because they're still in their earning years. I think as you think about an older workforce with the so-called great resignation, I think hopefully we'll start to see some of those folks come back into the workforce as we go into 2022. There's many reasons, but I still think that one of the biggest underlying issues here in this country that we still have to address is childcare. That is universally across the board, getting more women, more families participating in the workforce. That seems to be one of the biggest issues. And then I'd say the second is the fear of the virus.
Mr. Secretary, what about the numbers themselves and how much we can even believe or care about them on a monthly basis when we have a revision like the one we had for December? Originally, we were told 199,000 jobs. Now we're told, I think, 510,000.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I mean, I think BLS is very transparent and very credible, and certainly the Bureau of Labor Statistics here, the Department of Labor, have been counted on for decades to be able to put numbers out, and I think that those numbers are very dependable. Certainly, I would much have rather be on your show last month talking about 510,000 jobs than 199,000 jobs. But certainly, we're looking at the systems as we move forward here, meaning not how we collect data, but looking at these revisions happen all the time.
But not to that level. Not to that level, do they? I mean, it's more than double.
Well, again, we can't lose sight that we are living and working in a global pandemic, a once-in-a-century pandemic. And I know the show previous before I came on, there's lots of talk about what's happening in the economy, talking about recessions. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily deemed a recession, but we're dealing with a pandemic unlike anything we've ever had. I think hopefully as we continue to move through 2022, we continue to follow President Biden's plan as far as dealing with the pandemic, dealing with inflation, dealing with the costs, dealing with the supply chain, all these challenges that the president has been tackling head on. We will hopefully start to see some of this normalcy settle back into our economy.